Hello, hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Today is Tuesday, February the 6th. Thank you for all of you that are joining me live today. Today, I'm going to be doing a live training with the topic of, these fitness or nutrition practices could be costing you progress. I was really compelled to talk about this topic because I spend a lot of time speaking to so many of you in the community. So many of new members that are joining the community. I have a lot of new people that are following me on Instagram. And, the general consensus is that a lot of you have a goal of, wanting to lose weight, lose body fat, get really toned and defined, build an hourglass body. Like this is, collectively some of the goals that a lot of you guys have. Some of you, want to get leaner, you want to have better energy, better sleep, better mood, wanting to be healthier for various reasons, whether it might be, some health concerns that you might have, maybe cholesterol's going up, blood pressure's going up, you might be pre-diabetic. A lot of you have a lot of different reasons as to why you want to get healthy. So today I want to talk to you about some fitness and nutrition practices that a lot of you are considering doing to help you get to your goal. And I want to go over them because I feel like it's really important to educate you on whether you're considering to do these practices, because they will get in the way of you seeing the results that you want to see. So for those of you that are watching live right now, please say hello in the comment section. If throughout the whole time that I'm talking today, you have some questions, please pop it in the comment section. And I can respond back to you. But for those of you that are watching live right now and joining me live today, hi Adelia, how are you doing? If any of these things that I'm talking about, like the intention of this is not to hurt anybody's feelings. The intention of this is just to educate you and educate you properly so that you know best what to do moving forward. And if you're part of our community, then the one of the biggest reasons that you're here is because obviously you want to improve your body composition, fat loss, live healthier, get fit. Like these are the common basically the common goals that a lot of you have here. So a lot of the times the biggest thing that I've noticed is that when I speak to people and I ask them, okay, what are you currently doing right now? What is your current plan? And a lot of you have no idea like what you're currently doing. And because you don't have a good starting point. And what I mean by that is that if you have no idea what you're currently doing, it's a really tough place to be because you don't know your starting point. It's like for me, like I'm going to Disney next week, I'm going to Florida next week. And if I'm in Florida and I have no idea where I am, how am I going to know how to get to Disney World afterwards? If it's just like, well, just go this direction, like that's going to be a very horrible advice for me because I have no idea where my starting point is. And I feel like a lot of you have no idea where your starting point is. A lot of the answers that I get is that, well, I'm doing really well with my workouts. I'm working out, 2 to 3 days a week, and I eat pretty clean. But the thing is that eating pretty clean is very vague. It's too vague. Okay. It's not a proper starting point. And your starting point is really getting a sense of like what your average workout routine is, how many days a week you're training, what type of training you're doing, getting an idea of like how many steps you are getting in throughout the day. And the most thing that needs to be really tracked as a starting point, which a lot of you are really resistant to, is knowing how much food you are consuming. This is exactly why I created the guide and I put out the guide last week on how to mastering food tracking for effective fat loss. Okay, the reason why I put out this guide is because this was the answer that I was getting all the time. I eat pretty clean. Okay. So what, it's just a guess. It's just a guess in terms of how many calories you're actually consuming by eating very clean. And also the term eating very clean is very subjective. Like what I think is eating very clean may be very different from someone else eating very clean. Maybe it means like, yeah, I'm not, maybe you're not having processed foods, or maybe eating clean means to you that you only have one restaurant meal a week, whereas to somebody else maybe it's two restaurant meals a week. Like it's very, very subjective, and it doesn't really tell you where you're currently at. So the part that most people have a tough time with is because it actually requires that you track your food. Is this part is knowing exactly, what your current nutrition is like, how many calories you're currently consuming, how much protein you're consuming, how much carbs and fats you're consuming. If you don't know in any this information, it's just a guess. And I don't know about you, I don't like to go into something just guessing. This is exactly why when our clients start with us, we make them track their food for 7 days. And so you really have to know where you're starting from. So, does that mean that the only way that you can make progress is to track your food all the time? No, of course not. But it's really gives you a clear definition of where you're starting at. So, now when I say go track your food, that means that you need to be not changing the way that you're eating. Okay. So if you haven't gotten my guide, how many of you that are watching here right now, did any of you get the guide last week? Okay, so you guys are all clients, so you have your own food to track and you have your own meal plans to track. So we made this very simple for you. But for I see Idalia, Michelle, Nancy, and Kelly are all here. Thanks for joining, Kelly, and coming in on your lunch on this. But this is like a really, really big issue that I see is that you really have no idea. And even somebody like that's like, well, I think I'm eating, if I had to estimate, I'm having about like 1,300 calories per day. That's still not accurate. Okay. Unless you're actually weighing out your food and you're tracking your food, it's really like just the best guess at the end of the day. So it's really hard for me to give any direction to anyone that's looking for help or looking for some guidance on how we can help you get there if we really don't know where you're going. So let's just say you are really don't know where your starting point is. So let's just say that you are tracking your food, but you also have some meals that are dining out or you're ordering in. Let's just say you're having 2 to 4 meals a week of that. Well, then what you need to do when you're basically going to have to estimate those meals. So either you find similar meals if you're tracking in MyFitnessPal or you're tracking in Chronometer, you're going to find similar meals and you are going to track that in there. And you will probably be really surprised that how much calories, the number of calories that are in those meals. And it might actually shock you when you recognize that those meals have a lot of extra fats and calories in them. But this will give you a good starting point. So again, imagine again, if you are traveling somewhere and you have no idea where you are, how can you ask for directions of where to go if you have no idea where you're currently at right now? So this is probably like the biggest thing that I see is that, people try to solve a problem or solve their issue of like wanting to lose weight and without really knowing where they're currently at right now. Like I had, for example, I talked to a lady a few weeks ago, and she's like, yeah, I'm eating like 120 grams of protein per day. Like she actually thought, and I think this is the biggest misconception, is that like the chicken that weighed 120 grams was actually 120 grams of protein. And that's not the case. Okay. So that's why you want to use an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer that will actually tell you like 120 grams of chicken is probably like 20 to 25 grams of protein. So this is what I mean, that like if you are not tracking your food, at least for 7 days, track your food. Don't change the way that you're eating. Don't change your nutritional habits. Just track your food for 7 days and know exactly where you're currently at. Then you can continue on from that point to either seek guidance or figure out like, okay, where do I go from here? Okay. Do any of you guys have questions about that? I did not get the guide and I checked my junk email. Okay, Paula. I'm gonna have to check to see if you let me just see here. What if you entered in your own email address? So what I would suggest that you do is that you DM me your email address. I'm just gonna see if it's on here. Just give me a second here. Paula. Oh, yeah, you have Hotmail. So, honestly, Hotmail is brutal for blocking. Did you check on your on a desktop for your junk emails? Because Hotmail is brutal for blocking emails. Like sometimes it won't even let it go in. But you can private DM me your email address and then I'll try and send it to you another way. All right, Carol, you're here as well too. So thank you everyone for coming. Are any of you currently sitting in this position where you think you're eating clean, but you actually have no idea where you're currently at nutritionally? This is where you need to start. Okay, start tracking your food, get my guide that I sent out last week, and actually know where you're currently at. Okay, so that is the biggest thing that is getting in the way of any of you guys seeing progress, is really knowing where you're currently at with everything. Okay, so the other thing that I have been seeing, another recurring theme that I've been seeing with a lot of you is fasting. Okay, and fasting, I did a whole post about this yesterday, but honestly, fasting is not a great strategy. Okay. So, fasting, it might be that you're like pushing your breakfast or you're skipping breakfast altogether. It's not a great strategy because if you're eating in an 6 hour window, it really doesn't matter like the time frame that you're eating those calories. It doesn't really matter when you're consuming those calories. And research has shown that it doesn't really matter when you eat it, okay, at the end of the day. So you can have the total amount of calories, whether it's in a 6 hour window, 8 hour window, whatever the case may be, it doesn't really matter when you're consuming it. But here's what happens when we do something like fasting. Okay. First of all, you have no idea how many calories you are consuming within that window. And what happens a lot of times is that when we are trying this fasting strategy, initially it may work because you might be eliminating a meal. But what happens a lot of times is that your hunger cues go up. So when you actually go and eat during that window, you're actually consuming a lot of calories. People can be overweight and still be fasting. Okay. Because at the end of the day, if you're the strategy is eat whatever you want during that 6 or 8 hour window. Okay. Well, that can mean that you're eating a lot of processed foods. That means that you're eating like highly caloric meals out at restaurants. Like, does that mean like, you know what I'm saying? Like the fasting strategy doesn't work if you actually are not knowing how many calories you're consuming within that window. You can be really restricted and still overconsume. And so what really matters is how much you are eating and what you are eating. Also, if you are a woman within a certain age, so if you are over the age of 40 and you are going through perimenopause and menopause, you are very sensitive to stress. So fasting is really, really stressful. It's also an unnecessary stress for a woman that is over 40. So it's not a strategy. Okay. You can, like I said, you could be significantly overweight and still be fasting. You could be over consuming in those calories. So it's really not a strategy. If anything, it could be causing more harm than good. I've seen lots of people fast and initially they see results, but then after that, they're like, I don't know what's going on. Like, I'm fasting, but I'm not losing any weight. Well, if you're not losing any weight, it means that you're, or some people are like, I'm actually gaining weight. Well, that means you're over consuming during that time period, or you're eating maintenance calories during that time period. And so a lot of times when we work with clients, our clients that suffer from binge eating at nighttime, or they have intense cravings throughout the day, typically what's happening is that they're skipping breakfast. Either they're doing that on purpose or they're unintentionally doing that because they're really, really busy throughout the day. And so what their pattern looks like throughout the day is that in the evening when they come home, they are binging. And so when they get on our program, when we are enforcing or really recommending, not enforcing, we are really encouraging them to make sure that they start their day with a protein packed breakfast. Immediately the cravings and the cravings and the binging goes away. Okay, the late night stacking, it all stops. It's crazy how that works. And again, you need to connect the dots there. Okay. It's like cause and effect. Okay. The reason why it's happening is because of the fasting. Okay. When you're going long hours without eating and fueling your body with what it needs, your body is going to send you the signal that it wants food. And over time, that is going to get stronger and stronger. So normally, like I've heard this so many times from so many women in the community, like they don't eat breakfast, they bring a banana and a yogurt with them for lunch. They come home. Guess what? The first thing that they're doing when they come home, their behavior, what it looks like, raiding the cupboards, shoving food in their mouth while they're cooking dinner, having dinner, and then after dinner, guess what's happening? They're eating even more food. And normally it's things like chips. They're craving for sugar because sugar is a source of energy. Okay, so it's not a plan. It's not a proper strategy, and doing this could be harming you. Okay, it could be harming you more than doing any good. So this is why I don't really recommend this. Like tons of research will show what matters most is that what are you consuming throughout the day, and what does that food look like? Like you can be fasting but eating a horrible diet. You could be fasting and having a lot of processed foods. So the strategy really doesn't work. Okay, so really we need to connect the dots and really understand why this strategy doesn't work for you at the end of the day. So like if we look at foods that are very highly palatable, they are normally very high in calories. Like I spoke to someone a couple weeks ago, about a month ago, that enrolled in my programming, and she said to me, I'm eating clean. And I said, okay, that's great. So, but I do snack a lot in the evening. Oh, okay. So what are you having? Like chips? No, no, I eat really, really healthy food. Okay, so tell me what you typically would have. Well, I have a cup of nuts. Okay, so I actually pulled up for her what a cup of nuts consisted of in terms of calories, and it was over 800 calories coming from a cup of nuts. Now, for someone like her, like who needs to be in a calorie deficit or something like that, like that's a lot of calories to be consuming just for a snack. And so you think about all of the other snacks that you have throughout the day. Now, for someone that's fasting and thinking, oh, I'm eating clean during my fasting window, things like avocados, nuts, like oils, cheeses, all of these things are really high in calories. So you might be eating clean, but still having these very highly caloric foods during your feeding window. And guess what? What's going to happen? You're overeating in calories at the end of the day. So it's not a solid strategy, ladies, okay, when it comes to trying to get to your goals, okay? So, the other thing that I heard recently is the other thing that I'll hear is like, okay, so what is your strategy right now for weight loss? And the first thing that I'm hearing from everyone's mouth is that what they're working out, that they're going to go to the gym. They're going to, I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm actually started doing yoga or Pilates twice a week. I'm doing, this is like my workout routine. Okay, so I really want to make this clear. When it comes to losing body fat, yes, strength training is important. Strength training is important because it helps you preserve lean muscle mass. It helps like making sure your metabolism is really, your metabolic health is really high, but it's not on the top of the list to helping you with fat loss. Okay. Workouts are not going to help you with fat loss. Okay. I'm going to make that very clear. The primary driver for fat loss is nutrition. Okay. Have you ever heard of the phrase, you can't outtrain a bad diet? That's 100% accurate. Okay. So think about how long it would take you to burn 1,000 calories. And a lot of times, you use those watches and those apps that tell you those are completely inaccurate compared to how long it would take you to eat 1,000 calories. That's like 2 meals. Maybe for some of you, it's a meal and a snack. Okay. So working out in that mindset, like, oh, I'm going to burn the calories, like burning calories equals fat loss. Like, no, it doesn't work like that, ladies. Okay. It comes from nutrition. Nutrition is what is going to drive fat loss at the end of the day. And I'm going to explain it to you. I've explained it before in past trainings that I've done. But what we need to look at is the total daily energy expenditure and how our bodies burn calories. So the way that our body burns calories is, I think I talked about this last week, but I'm going to repeat it again as well too, because I think it's really important. Michelle, yeah. Yeah. But again, like I do Pilates, but I put in the category functional movement, not a strength training aspect. Yes. Like Pilates is great for that, for stretching, functional movement, mobility, things like that. But we can't think that working out is what is going to be the main driver of fat loss. Now, strength training, what strength training does is it ensures that we are building lean muscle mass. We are preserving lean muscle mass so that when you lose weight, you are just losing body fat and not lean muscle mass. The other thing that strength training does is that it helps you look really toned and defined. So again, it helps to make sure that you are preserving and building that lean muscle mass so that you are just losing body fat. Okay, there's a difference between losing body fat and losing weight. Losing weight, you're losing muscle and you're losing body fat, and you're also tanking your metabolism. Okay, because the less muscle you have on your body, the less calories your body burns at rest. So strength training, what it does, it ensures that we are signaling to only lose body fat, and it keeps your metabolism high. Okay, so if you are preserving your lean muscle mass, your metabolism is going to stay really solid and really high, which means that you're going to be burning more calories at rest. So if you are going to do any type of working out, it needs to be strength training that goes along with your nutrition. So when we look at how is your body burning calories, 70% comes from the resting metabolic rate. This is how many calories your body burns at rest to function, to make all of your bodily processes work throughout the day. So 70% comes from that. Then we have 15% comes from the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this is your daily steps. This is moving your hands, blinking, talking, daily movement that you do. 15% of it comes from that. Then we have 10% comes from the thermic effect of feeding. So this is how many calories your body is burning digesting foods. And then we only have 5% that comes from exercise. So do you see, like, exercise is like at the bottom of the list? Okay. So what we should be focusing on for fat loss is your nutrition. Making sure that you're in the proper calorie deficit for nutrition. And I want to really make something clear that if you have been eating in a calorie deficit for a long period of time, like chronic dieting, 1,100 and 1,200 calories, truly 1,100 and 1,200 calories, meaning that you've been tracking your food and you know exactly that's how much calories you've been eating, then you are not ready to go into a calorie deficit. You're actually already at a calorie deficit. So you actually have to spend the time building up your metabolism. However, when it comes to nutrition, you need a few things in place. You're in a calorie deficit. And the only way you're going to know if you're in a calorie deficit is that you're tracking your food and you're weighing out your food. The second thing is that you need to ensure that you're having enough protein in your diet. The protein will help make sure that few things. It has a higher thermic effect of feeding. So remember, 15% comes from your body burning calories digesting food. Well, guess what? Protein has a higher thermic effect of feeding compared to carbohydrates and fats. The other thing that protein does is it helps you preserve that lean muscle mass or build lean muscle mass. So again, when you're losing body fat, you're just losing body fat. You're not losing that precious lean muscle on your body, which will help keep your metabolic rate high. So the other thing that you could be focusing on is your daily movement. Like, some people they're like, well, I work out 4 days a week. But if you're sitting all day, track how much movement you get. Like me, myself, if I sit all day and I don't intentionally walk for at least half an hour, 45 minutes every day, my daily movement is 4,000 steps because I'm sitting down majority of the time. So I intentionally need to move my body and go for a walk every day to try and at least get my steps to like 7,000 or 8,000 steps on average. Okay. So does that make sense to all of you, or is that very clear to you why working out is not a strategy? Like, I've had so many clients come to me that are like, I've been working out for years, I see absolutely no results. Well, what do you do for nutrition? Like, the nutrition is really the primary driver when it comes to fat loss. Sorry, ladies, I need to take a sip of water. Okay. So the last thing that I want to talk about today yes, nutrition is big. Yes, Kelly. And you know that because you're in our programming as well too. And you have a customized nutrition plan. And Kelly weighs out her food. She knows exactly what her portion sizes are. Everyone else does as well too. This is why our clients see results, is because we know exactly what they're consuming. We encourage 80% whole foods and also 20% non-whole foods, fun foods. Okay. So it's important to do that. So the other thing that I want to talk about is one of the things that I heard actually yesterday when I was talking to someone, and I still can't believe, actually a few people that I've talked to over the challenge. I'm like, hey, how's the challenge going? Yeah, I've been eliminating sugar. And that's my strategy, is I'm eliminating sugar. I actually spoke to someone yesterday, and I honestly cannot believe that we are still here today. She told me that she doesn't eat any fruit. Like, she totally eliminates fruit because she feels that eating fruit is what's preventing her from losing body fat. Okay, so I want to make this really, really clear. Eliminating sugar is not a game plan. Okay, trying to eliminate sugar, it first of all, it's not a game plan. It's not necessary, and it might be hurting you more than it's helping you. So eliminating sugar is not a strategy. Okay, you can eliminate sugar all you want, but you can end up under recovered. You can end up impacting your sleep. You can have low energy and fatigue, binging later on because you're depriving yourself. So just overall having a hard time regulating your mood, low serotonin, higher cortisol. Sugar in and itself, it's just energy. Okay. Now, is it easier to overconsume high sugar foods? Well, it really depends. If they are high sugar foods that are void of nutrients and fiber, sure, it could be really easy to overconsume of those foods. However, fruit has sugar, potatoes have sugar. There are plenty of quality food sources that have sugar. And even still, sugar in itself, it's not bad. Okay. It's all about balance in trying to eliminate sugar. It's not a strategy. Okay. And it could actually do more harm than good. Do I do what we do encourage is that you eat more whole food sources, and reducing the amount of processed foods. Yes, we encourage that. Okay, now when we're talking about that, that's like a completely different thing. When we're talking about improving the quality of your food, it's a different approach as opposed to I'm just going to eliminate sugar. So if you're going to add more protein to your meals, add more veggies to your diet, that is a better strategy than I'm going to just eliminate sugar. Okay. It never really happens like that. And the thing is like I had a conversation with someone that's on a super restrictive diet, like no potatoes, no bread, obviously no fruit as well too. And then she's struggling because she's having intense cravings. Okay. The thing is that the reason why those crazy cravings are happening, is because of the restriction. And when you are restricting things like sugar and not having all of these foods and stuff like that, guess what's going to happen? You're going to binge. You're going to want that. You're going to see the cookies and shove, more than one in your mouth, or have more of the candy. It's like unnecessary to do this. Okay. And the reason is that, the reason why the binge happens is because of the restriction. This is why when our clients come and work with us, we incorporate 80% whole foods, but we also teach them how to incorporate those fun foods into their diet, like Rice Krispie squares, a little bit of chocolate. Like we include that and teach them how to put that into their plan. You know what? You know what happens when we do that? They have balance. They know how to do this for the rest of their lives. They're not binging. They're not having intense cravings because we are teaching them how to have balance at the end of the day. Okay. Because when you do these extreme things where you're eliminating a food like something because you think that that's what's causing you to not lose the weight, it just doesn't last a very long time. It's not sustainable. So going an approach where it's like, okay, let's have more protein in our diet, let's have more veggies in our diet, that is a better strategy than just eliminating it. Okay. And yes, we want to, like, guys, fruit is fine to have. Okay. That's not the first time I heard that. I have other clients that came to me with different plans where they're like, oh, the previous coach that I was with like told me I couldn't have fruit. Like, guys, fruit is a whole food. It's a whole food. It has lots of nutrients in there that our bodies need. It's okay to have fruit. The sugar in the fruit is not going to stop you from losing weight and losing body fat. It's not that. Yes, of course, we want to have more whole foods. We encourage that. Okay. Yes, we want to get sugar from whole food sources like fruits and potatoes and sweet potatoes and like, all of these great whole food sources that like, it's okay to have that. That is not what's going to stop you. Now, are a lot of people maybe overeating junk? Yes, of course that's happening. And that could be causing you not to lose the weight. But if we go to an approach where it's like, okay, well, instead of that, why don't we have more protein in your diet each meal, which regulates blood sugar levels, which keeps you really full and satiated? Like, why don't you try that approach? Let's have some more vegetables in your diet and see how that the script is changed there. That could provide you a better strategy as opposed to I'm going to eliminate sugar. Like, guys, at the end of the day, whatever you choose to do, if you cannot see yourself doing that for the rest of your life, and it's not sustainable for you to do that for the rest of your life, you should not be doing that. Okay. If you cannot see yourself not eating fruit for the rest of your life, you should not be doing that. If you cannot see yourself living your life without having a fun food that you really enjoy to have and not learning how to incorporate that into your life, then you should not be doing that. Okay. It's really, really important to ensure that you are picking something that is really, really sustainable for you at the end of the day. So, Kelly, I'm hearing, yes, I do. And lost working out. Exactly. Like, so just quickly, Kelly, before you came to work with us, did you feel that working out was the primary driver of fat loss? Just curious, just pop it in the comment section because I feel like this is a big misconception. And I really need to educate you guys on that. That really, like, if we look at the hierarchy of fat loss, nutrition is first, then we work on sleep. Because if you're not sleeping well, guess what's happening? Your hormones are being disrupted. Hormones are not being regulated. You're going to be more hungry. You're going to crave more things because your body wants energy because of the lack of sleep. So sleep is next. The next thing that we look at is stress. Okay. And then we exercises afterwards. Okay. We need to look at what the hierarchy is when it comes to fat loss and weight loss, and nutrition is going to be the primary driver. Okay, so with that being said, I am going to offer free nutritional consults for those of you that would like it. Obviously, if you are one of our clients already, so you're one of our one-on-one coaching clients, or you're one of our clients in our membership platform, you've already had nutritional consults with us. We already have a solid game plan. You have the support. For those of you that are like part of the community and you want some extra guidance, then I'm going to open up 5 spots for 5 free nutritional consults. What I'm going to do in the consult is this. So I'm going to ask about your goals, your current style, your current workout program, if you're working out, previous diets that you've done before in the past, what you're struggling with. And then I will offer some insight. So I like to, give you something tangible for you to walk away with. And if you are interested in coaching at the end of it and you want our help, that's cool, but that is not the goal of the call. The call is to really give you some understanding and some guidance when it comes to nutrition. So if this is something that you would like, you can get a free nutritional consultation with me. I normally charge $500 for that. So because you are part of my community, you will get that. And if you are part of, like, if you did my challenge and you're going to do the post challenge call, then you get this part of that. Okay. So if you're watching this, Carol, you're going to get that. So if you want this and you're watching the replay to this afterwards, just comment nutrition consult in the comments below, or you can send me a private message as well, and we can set that up for you. Okay, so just for context, what that means is that we are going to get on a call. You'll communicate with me like what you're trying to achieve. And then I will go over some guidance. We'll go over history, like what you're struggling with. And then I will provide you some feedback and some guidance and some strategies, some tangible things that you can walk away with at the end of it. Okay. I really want to help you guys out, especially that we know nutrition is the primary driver. We really want to make sure that we can help you out as much as possible here in any way that I can. Okay, so Kelly's saying, if I want to maintain muscle and lose mainly fat, then strength is important. If you're wanting to lose weight, then nutrition is most important. Yeah, so yeah, if you want to lose weight, which don't really recommend that is your strategy, that it should be mostly fat loss. Yeah, if you just focus on nutrition only, then you're going to lose weight. Absolutely. But that means you're jeopardizing lean muscle mass. And then what ends up happening is that your metabolism starts tanking because you're losing all of that lean muscle mass. And then what will eventually happen is that you plateau. So in order to lose body fat, you need to do the nutrition with a very good focus on ensuring that you're having enough protein in your diet, and then also the strength training to go with it, so that you're maintaining that muscle mass and your body is only losing body fat only. That's correct, Kelly. So, the goal, like, hey, if you want to just lose weight only and you don't care about how your body composition looks, like if you don't care that when you lose the weight, you might look like flabby, you might have like not the best body composition. Like this happened to me on my own weight loss journey, is that like I lost weight, but like I had a lot of body fat still sitting in my stomach. And then like my legs were really skinny. I had flat butt. I didn't actually like I even though the scale said a number, I was like, yeah, like I got to this scale weight. Like when I looked at myself in the mirror and I was wearing a bathing suit, I didn't feel like I looked really good. I was like, what's going on? Like I still am carrying a lot of body fat. Like I could remember like just pulling on my skin, and it was a lot of body fat in my belly area. And so it was at that point that I was like, okay, I don't like how my body composition is looking. And that's when I started working with the coach that really helped me understand, like, you need to do the strength training so that you can build up that muscle that you lost, so that you do look really toned and defined, and that your body composition looks good. And I changed the shape of my body. Like I got my butt back, I got my legs back, my fat in my midsection started disappearing. Because the other thing I want you to understand is when you lose weight and you lose body fat, you are actually carrying more body fat. Like your body fat percentage is higher. You are actually fatter that way. Okay. Does that make sense? Because if you are losing that lean muscle mass, your body fat percentage will go up because your lean muscle mass has gone down. So even though you're losing weight, yeah, you're actually carrying more body fat. And that is exactly what happened to me. I looked skinny fat at the end of it. So hopefully that makes sense to you, Kelly, how I'm explaining that. Like, yeah, you want to lose weight at the end of the day, great. The goal should, like, you will be carrying more body fat at the end of the day because of all of the muscle that you've lost. So the goal should always be like, am I at a good, healthy body fat percentage at the end of the day? And that should really be the goal. And that will only happen when nutrition is the driver, but also making sure you're strength training. Okay, good. Yeah, Kelly. Awesome. Okay, I'm glad that you understood that. All right, ladies, thank you so much for tuning in. Does anybody else have any other questions? Again, if you want two things here, if you want a free nutritional consult, write that down, nutrition consultation below. The second thing is that if you want the guide on how to track your food and start doing that so you know exactly where your starting point is, then write food tracker guide in the comment section, and we will send that to you. Okay, we'll send you a message and we'll send you the link to get that. And Paula, I will try and send that guide to you via email. It's most likely because you have Hotmail, and Hotmail is just really brutal when it comes to blocking emails out. All right, ladies, I really hope that this was really informative. My intention was not to offend anybody. My intention here was to just strictly educate you. This is what I do. I'm a professional at this. This is how we help so many hundreds of women that join our coaching program, like really get the results that they want, but also helping you understand how to get to your goal and really stopping these things that you might be thinking of doing that is going to really prevent you from getting the goals that you're really after at the end of the day. All right, ladies, have an awesome day. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye, Michelle. Bye, Kelly. We will see you all tonight if you can. I know, Michelle, you can't come, but tonight we are doing our final call for our 21-day challenge, and I'm going to be announcing the winner of the $500 cash prize. So please come and join me, ladies. Thank you, everyone, for joining me today. Have an awesome one. Bye.